guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account, and today we're going to be talking about the meta comps that we have within the campaign. So once you start getting into, one battle, two battles, three, four, and ultimately 5 battles when you're going through this campaign stages, there are some really go-to meta comps that work incredibly well in the campaign. Might not work in a lot of different places, not in PvP really as well, but I'm going to go through some of the meta teams that we see in here, also some of the variations within these meta teams. So first one we look at, guys, is Lucretia. The reason why we built her first is she is absolutely a one-person army. Looking in this formation, guys, we have Halos in here because he is actually going to buff Lucretia as soon as the battle starts. Very, very powerful. Zafriel is in this formation to provide some crowd control. Hodgkin in here is as a buffer, similar to Rain. So essentially, you're going to have your entire team die, except for Lucretia, giving her the superpowers to essentially kill everybody on this enemy side, which again does work incredibly well within this formation. Lucretia can do it by herself, guys. Relics within here are going to vary. So usually she will use the dual divinity. If you're using a 5-pull where Iran is actually pulling the heroes in, you can actually swap this to a different artifact, allowing her to do more damage because the dual divinity is not going to be effective if she is not going onto the enemy side. So you'll see here, guys, right there, she has the little crystal on top of her head. She got taken out pretty quick in that one. But if she can get to the enemy side, and this is where we're trying to get Gorvo to keep from the stun. So it is going to be a little bit of RNG in here, and this team does work incredibly well. With Lucretia, again, she has a shielding aspect, and there she goes, guys. So she's up on the enemy side. She teleports around. Boom, the RNG factor goes down. Even Zafriel's Thunderbolts, if you've seen, were still up in the air, allowing her to finish out that formation really quick. Now, second one, guys, is the Thorn Cheese. So I'm going to actually do 2 variations of this one. One is the Thorn Cheese, and the reason why we have Aziz in here, if you have one single copy of Aziz, it will actually freeze Zolrath right off the bat, which is pretty cool. But essentially within this formation, guys, you want to stack everyone around Thorin. A lot of players know about the Thorn Cheese. Some players, it's super hard to get it to work because it is very dependent on the team comp you're fighting. Now in this one, you'll notice Pippa teleports Thorin to where he needs to be. Even here, guys, Aziz, we do not want built anywhere near as strong as this Aziz is, guys. Really take some of the damage away because, again, this Aziz that I have in here is way too strong to be in this formation for this Thorn Cheese to work. And of course, fighting Zolrath in here, guys, Thorn Cheese is very, very difficult to get because you actually have to do it twice, which is incredibly difficult. And I'm trying to stay away from our awakened heroes down here within formations. Now, another one that a lot of players do run meta comp, and again, this is going to be kind of another variation, is when it comes to Ainz. The old school Ainz comp still works incredibly well, running Arthur, running Albedo. Now, one variation that a lot of players do run within this formation is adding in Ezio. So what happens eventually is when you get to a point, guys, this formation is not going to be strong enough to kill out the enemy comp. So either you're going to be running an Ezio in here, or a lot of players will actually run a Mortis in here as well, which again can serve as a buffer within this formation. We've seen him in a couple different varieties of this. So Arthur essentially gives the aura. Mortis is going to buff Ainz. Ainz has to be the strongest hero in here, giving him the damage boost to actually take down these formations, which again, guys, if you do not have Ainz built out much higher than I do here, it's going to be pretty ineffective. But essentially, Ainz will carry for a lot of AFK Arena, which we've seen here in this formation. Now, third one here, guys, is again a variation of a couple different formations. So a lot of players will run Silas in here. This is the classic Alnagrez that we see. Again, a very big meta formation. Some players will even drop out Silas in here and drop in a hero such as Desira. Again, a little bit of a varying formation. Also depending on the damage you have, because you have Desira in here, you do have quite a bit of support on the other side. So putting in a hero like Mortis has the viability to actually buff up Grez and Ulna, allowing them to do an exceptional amount of damage. Again, Ulna Grez, guys, super, super strong formation in here that we do love to see. Looking at our fourth, or essentially our fifth formation, is the 5-pull, guys. This still does work incredibly well. Ezio in here as a finisher. Mishka, of course, for the crowd control. We have Queen in here for the crowd control aspect. Now, if you're doing this traditional 5-pull, it's really advisable to have Iran actually built up a little bit. I don't have any engraving on there, but building him up a little bit does make a big difference in this formation with the survivability. But you can see there, guys, we have a lot of crowd control within this formation. We have Queen doing damage. We have Iran doing damage. Ezio, of course, as the finisher, just taking out the heroes as we're taking them down in here. And then Mishka, of course, guys, doing a lot of the crowd control aspect in here. Also have our little pet damage going on in there. So once we get a little bit lower, Ezio takes them out, guys. Very, very cool variation of that pull. In addition to that one, guys, a lot of players also do run old school Sophia sometimes works in there, but a lot of times they'll do 5-pull with Lucretia. Again, some more variations. This last one, of course, is the Charmazard, guys. A lot of players say, how does this work? It is based on Mahira. And of course, boom, Mahira does what she does, guys. Mesmerize the entire enemy team, which means they just kill each other. That is kind of the basis for this. Between Rosaline and between Mahira, you will mesmerize heroes over and over and over again. Of course, Khazard is going to increase the duration for our mesmerize ability, which again works incredibly well within the formations. Now again, just covering a couple of the basic meta formations that we see within the campaign stages. These are really the big ones. There are a few additional variations, which I'll just talk about real quick. One is built around Leonardo Da Vinci. So Leonardo Da Vinci actually does an incredible job with a lot of these campaign modes. So a lot of players are running a Leonardo Da Vinci with a combination of like a Raku, which works incredibly well. We see Mishka a lot of times within this formation, but Raku and Leonardo run with Khazard has actually been a really, really strong formation as well that we've seen a couple times. Also seen a couple of variations with running Merlin in formations. If you're not running the Eins team, there's a couple other formations, again, that you can kind of cheese out of here, and a lot of it is just based on the ability to have crowd control. So as you start getting into much higher level deficiencies, crowd control becomes super, super important, because essentially if you're not controlling the enemy team, you are going to get completely run over. It's kind of crazy. I know I've seen variations with this with Baba Yaga, again with the crowd control aspect. Need 2 solid tanks up here. Mishka is usually one of those very solid tanks that we see, but any tank that's going to provide survivability and also an aspect of crowd control works incredibly well with the formation, keeping the team alive. So essentially with this team, guys, as soon as the crowd control for Leonardo goes off, it locks down heroes long enough to allow Raku to actually do an incredible amount of damage. But with this winning formation, guys, Mishka is a monster. She is absolutely one of the first heroes that you do want to deal with. Similar to Lucretia, guys, all Negrez, there's a lot of formations in here that do work absolutely incredible well within metacomps. So guys, that'll do it for today's video. Just wanted to cover, again, some of the metacomps that we kind of see within the campaign, some of the heroes that we kind of focus on building as well. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.